Friends, today's topic density gradient centrifugation. It's me Anina KF, first year MSc Biology, St. Mary's College, Thrissur. What is centrifugation? Centrifugation is a method of separating molecules having different densities by spinning them in a solution around an axis at a high speed. It is one of the most useful and frequently employed techniques in the molecular biology laboratory. Density gradient centrifugation. It is a variation of differential centrifugation in which sample is centrifuged in a medium that gradually increases in density from top to the bottom. There are two types, rate zonal centrifugation and isopycnic centrifugation. In case of rate zonal centrifugation, the sample is centrifuged in a preformed gradient. In case of picnic centrifugation, a self-generating gradient formed during the centrifugation. Rate zonal centrifugation. It also termed as velocity centrifugation, used to separate particles on the basis of difference in their sedimentation. The rate sedimentation is strongly influenced by the size and density of the particles. Material used for the preparation of the density gradient are sucrose, glycerol, etc. 5 to 20% of sucrose solution is commonly used to form density gradient. The density of the particles is greater than the density of the medium at all points during the separation. In the centrifugation process, samples are centrifuged just long enough to separate the molecules of the interest into discrete zones. It can be used to determine the sedimentation coefficient and the molecular weight of the biological macromolecule. The equation is that molecular weight is m that equal to F into V divided by omega square into R. In this equation, F is the frictional coefficient of the solvent system and V divided by omega square into R is the sedimentation coefficient. Isopycnic centrifugation is also termed equilibrium density gradient centrifugation. It separates the particles only on the basis of buoyant density and the immediate of and independent of shape and size of the particles. It also independent of time of the centrifugation. This technique is used to separate particles of the similar size but different density. The sample is loaded into the tube with a gradient forming solution. Under the influence of centrifugal force, the cesium salt redistributed to form density gradient from top to the bottom. Particles move to the point where their buoyant density equals that part of the gradient and form the band. The DNA separation by the equilibrium density gradient centrifugation. Equilibrium density gradient centrifugation with the cesium chloride is useful tool used for the fractionating, quantitatively separating and characterizing DNA based on the difference in their buoyant density. Cesium chloride is used because at the concentration of 1.6 to 1.8, it's similar to the density of the DNA. The buoyant density of the most double-stranded linear DNA in cesium chloride is approximately 1.70. Application of centrifugation. It to separate the two miscible substance to analyze the hydrodynamic property of the macromolecules, purification of mammalian cells, remove fat from the milk to produce skimmed milk, separation of urine components and blood components in forensic and research laboratory. Example of separation: the extraction of fat from the milk in order to produce skimmed milk. The removal of water from the moist litters with the help of the spinner. The spin dryer of the water in washing machine in order to remove the water from the clothing. The separation of the urine components and blood components in forensic and research laboratory. There is a reference. Thank you.